Okay, well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Finjan Show. I'm your host, Faris Alami, and I'm really excited today about hosting Aaron. He'll tell you a little bit about what he does and who he is. And for those who are first tuning in, the Finjan Show is hosted by me and sponsored by several different organizations. Today is brought to you by our own Resilient Entrepreneur Program, where we actually now able to offer it for those who want a license and deploy in their community, that they can do that with international strategic management. Aaron, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Really
I'm
appreciate it.
really, I'm really excited actually, looking back and understanding your journey. There's just so much that I'm not sure we could unfold all of it today, but we'll at least start some of it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I've known you now, I think it's over 6 years, 6 or 7 years, and we've definitely grown a lot since that first time that we met.
Yeah. So I'd love for those who are tuning in right now, and maybe you could tell them just a little brief about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Aaron Siepierski. I have 4 companies now. My largest company is an estate sale company, estate liquidation company, where we go into people's homes and we liquidate and sell everything that's inside the home. So from furniture to artwork to dishes to antiques, collectibles, jewelry, we sell everything that someone owns so that they can move, downsize, or after someone has passed away. The other companies we have a real estate company, a real estate staging company, and also we have an auction house that sells high-end art across the world.
Yeah. So this is why
So
I'm
we've
like,
been doing
I don't,
this. Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
we've
know
been
where to
doing this now
start.
for I've been doing this for 12 years now, and just in the past couple years, have these other companies emerged out of the success of our first company, Aaron's Estate Sales.
Yeah, and the Aaron State Sale is basically where what you mentioned earlier, where you go in and help someone sell all of their stuff at their home, or if someone's unfortunately passed away or something like that, you're helping them. Okay, very interesting. I'm sure
Yeah.
you've seen a lot. And last when we were talking earlier, you were saying that you're also now all over the country. Have you always been all over the country?
No, we started in Detroit, Michigan, and then we've recently expanded. We're in Florida now, and we're opening in Dallas, Texas this year. And our plan is to, over the next 5 years, have 8 to 10 more locations across the United States. And we're shooting for a target revenue of about 5 to 8 million for each location. Is sort of the target, and so we're looking to scale like that internally instead of what other people have done, which is franchising. We're trying not to go that route. We're trying to build out our management, our structure, our training, so that we can own everything and scale the business internally.
Very cool. Yeah, interesting. So for those who are listening, I mean, I know a little bit about your background. I'd love to hear if I remember, you finished high school and you jumped right in with your or stepfather, if I remember.
Yeah, so when I actually dropped out of high school when I was 14 years old, and from there I was working with my stepdad. He owned a business, and my mom had just married him right around that time that I was dropping out. So it was the first taste that I had of somebody that owned a business. First person I ever knew that owned a business, and he worked harder than anyone that I knew or I'd ever seen. And so I spent a lot of time with him learning, and I didn't know I was learning at the time. I was just a kid. I was just along for the ride because I was being forced to. But there was so much about business that I learned from him for like customer service and scale and employees. And so later on, I had got the opportunity to work with an estate sale company that had been doing it for 30 years. And so I worked for them for a few years. And what I found was that things are valuable that people don't think are valuable, and the things that everyone thinks is valuable is not worth anything. So I remember when I was a kid, I found this old trunk and I thought it was super old and antique, and I thought it was valuable, and it wasn't worth $50. And then this little brass propeller that was inside the trunk was worth $1,000. And so it really it changed my viewpoint to having to learn and study what makes something valuable and what makes something not valuable.
Yeah, that's fascinating because I'm always interested. Like, I'm sure you've heard the saying, what someone's garbage is someone's gold, right? Or
Right.
something like that. But to your point, a lot of times we think something is valuable. I mean, I collect stamps and coins, and I
Nice.
collect them not because, they're worth anything. I collected them because sometimes I just found them somewhere or bought them on an auction. And then occasionally someone will be like, that's worth $5,000. I'm like, oh, really?
Right. Yeah, exactly. We find things in homes all the time that are just, you pull it out of a drawer, you're like, damn, that's worth $5,000 or $10,000. And we've sold paintings, for $60,000, $80,000 that nobody knew had any value before. So it's really important when going through that process that you have somebody that's knowledgeable so that you don't make those mistakes.
Yeah, fascinating, Aaron. So there's much more to talk about that. I want to dive into this whole idea. So why did you choose entrepreneurship? I mean, you could have easily finished your high school. You could have easily done all kinds of other things. And it sounds like you've been exposed to a lot of other ideas. Why did you choose this route? Was it a choice?
I,
Did you have no choice? I'm curious.
yeah, no, that's a great question. So I mean, I did have a choice. I was going to go back to school for sound engineering. That was my plan, and I was looking into that. And then I saw the freedom that my stepdad had. Like, he didn't have a lot of freedom because he worked a lot, but when he did have freedom, he enjoyed himself much more than anyone that I knew. And he was able to purchase and do things for our family at that time that I had never seen before anyone else be able to do. So I definitely saw a freedom in entrepreneurship along with the hard work. And then also when I met the estate sale company owner, he had the same thing. It was the first time I had seen the same thing. Like, he had a freedom. He was able to, make his own decisions regarding his life. In addition to having to do a ton of work. Basically, like, what you produce is what you gain. What you work for is what you get in entrepreneurship. So I saw that and I was like, I know I can do that. I know that I can work really hard and provide a service and help people, and for that I'll be rewarded. So that was why I went in that direction.
Fantastic. So the journey of entrepreneurship, as you know, has ups and downs, and it's not possible to minimize them or maximize them. And sometimes they all happen at the same moment. And sometimes it's actually the same thing that got you up is what got you down, or the other way around. I'd love for you to share with us just one before we take a break, just one of those high moments where you felt you're so high, you're touching the sky, and things are opening up like never before. Share with us one of those moments.
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest sale that I ever did, it was in 2016, and we had the opportunity to do this estate sale at this castle. And I spent over a month working on this project, and we ended up doing $250,000 in just it was like 3 days of an estate sale. And with that was the highest high of, like, we made it. We profited $90,000 on this deal. And then right after that, we realized that we stopped promotion, we stopped advertising to do that. We stopped for a month to do this deal. And so then the business crashed right after. We couldn't replicate that. And so it was in the same moment we had the biggest high, the biggest win of my career. And then right after that, we had no business. So I really am now focused on, when it's great, keep promoting, keep selling, keep promoting, keep selling, so that it can stay going up. Because I think that's a cycle a lot of entrepreneurs get in, is they advertise and promote, then they have to go run and produce the product, and then they stop advertising and promoting, and then the business crashes, and they go through these roller coasters.
I call the consultant dilemma, right? So you get
Yeah, exactly.
so you have to get out of those habits. That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Clearly we can keep going. I'd love to take a short break, and we'll be right back to continue the conversation. Those who are tuning in, thank you for being here. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for joining. This is Faris Alami. I'm the host of the Finjan Show, and today we're having a conversation with Aaron. What a journey, Aaron. It sounds like amazing things that you were able to impact, of course, the people that you're touching as well. I'm curious, with those moments that we were talking about, your highest high, and it was maybe the same moment that you're realizing, the world is ending. I'd love for you to share with us another example where you felt like, oh no, the world is ending. What am I going to do if this doesn't work out? Just curious to hear, maybe you could share one of those moments.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of business owners had that same moment in the middle of COVID where they were like, what are we going to do? And I had that same thing, but the one thing that I think got me to the point that I am at today is in that moment during COVID when it was like retreat, pull back, don't work, don't do anything. I think that the people that are doing really well now stepped into the market even further during that time. And that's what I did. I was like, how do I spend this time to 10x my business and to push into the marketplace while everyone else is pulling out? Everyone in my industry pulled out of the market and just left it wide open. And I was able to double my business during that time, and we've been able to maintain from that moment. So I think that with great, challenges can create some of the best solutions and really propel someone if they're in the right state of mind, where they don't just take the victim mentality of, oh, there's nothing that can be done about it, everything is bad. And because those things start to creep in and when you're in business and an entrepreneur, of like, I can't do anything about it, there's nothing that I can do, I've tried everything, I just keep getting beat over the head. And if you just keep the creativity flowing and keep trying, then I think people come out of it pretty good.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I think a lot of people probably during COVID, and some unfortunately did close, felt that it was time to, they're heading at that end. Aaron, looking back 12 years ago, you've been doing this now. Looking back, and it's always hard because also people, when you look back, your mindset was different, your thoughts were different, your knowledge was different, your network was different. It's really hard. But if you were to go back and find a young Aaron like you, right, that's back in 14-year-old kid trying to figure it out, or someone just trying to start a business today, what would be one or two things that you may be able to say, think about this or explore this? Not that they will listen, as you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But what would that be?
I mean, I even have business partners I try to communicate this to, but I would say, listen, focus on sales. And even if you don't have the product 100% figured out yet, like I think people make the mistake of working on the product to try to make things perfect before actually selling it. And then they never get to the sales point, or when they do get to the sales point, they realize nobody really wanted it. So I would go out and sell, get orders, get commitments, get agreements, and then figure out how to deliver, because that'll propel you forward to be able to produce on whatever that is. And if you have a service, if you're starting a service-based business, which I think is one of the most powerful businesses to be able to start as an entrepreneur, then just go and produce, go and get better. The Apple iPhone comes out, and next week after that, they come out with an update because they sold you an imperfect product. And they're reworking it every single day. So I think you need to do that as a business, where you have to just get out there and make that sale, because then it forces you to figure everything else out.
Thank you so much. I mean, clearly, I'm always fascinated by every entrepreneur and what they have to say, because each is unique and with their own experience and what they've learned. And it's always unique to share these insights, because you never know who's gonna, be able to take that advice and move forward. Aaron, thank you so much for making the time. Thank you so much for being with us. For those who are joining, we've hosted Aaron today. Thank you for being with us. I'm Faris Alami, and this is the Finjan Show. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you so much. Absolutely.